Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats so we can restart our Congress. Don't worry, York, you don't have to run.
My dear friends, I think we can start the afternoon session. Now we move on agenda item 14, Permanent Committees reports and goals. I give the floor to our Secretary General.
Thank you, President. I hope you all had a good lunch and you are not needing a siesta. Just two important informations. First of all, we got the information from the Faroe Islands that they do have a constitution. So, Sirit, we have to update our report. But it's in the national language of the Faroe Islands. So we have to have a crash course in Faroes or whatever it's called to understand the constitution. But they do have a constitution, so that warning is invalid. Apologies, and we are very happy that you have a constitution in place. And maybe this is the case also for some of the other ones, that there is a misunderstanding. So if that is the case, of course, we will correct it as such. The second information before we go to the committee report is that on your tablet, you can actually express a vote. It should be open. You can express a vote. It's a test we're conducting. And don't worry, it's not counting for anything. It's just that we keep on testing to make sure that the system will be working when we need it. Okay, then we go to the committee reports. As is the habit for Congress, the reports are sent in advance. We have received all of the reports. The first report is the Athletes Committee. Is there anything the chair of the Athletes Committee would like to add to the report? Anything new? Doesn't seem to be the case. Any questions for the Athletes Committee? No? Then we thank the Athletes Committee and their members for the work they're doing, and forward for another 2 years of work with the Athletes Committee. Thank you. Ah, you want to speak? Okay, sorry.
Dear President, the Executive Board, the delegates, I have only one remark for Federation. If you want to help for your athletes, to promote athletes like K figure in the sport, maybe to help for communication, because now it's very important, and we can see sportsmen have websites, have activities in Facebook. If it's possible, please help for them, and we add these Facebook pages for Federation. You can see in reports that it's very popular, and we have many interesting for these pages. So if it's possible, please help for them.
Thank you, Victoria. So we will have, of course, also the workshop on communication, and that's a particular item that we will address in the workshop, is how to improve the communication with and through your athletes on social media. So thank you, Victoria, for raising that point. So, and Victoria for sure will also actively participate in that workshop as such. So thank you very much, Victoria. Okay, then we go Coaches Committee. The report has been sent. I don't know, Coach Lee, do you want to add something, or it's fine? Okay. Any questions? No, thank you. Next one, Constitution and Rules Committee. Again, the report was sent. Mark Miller, anything to add? No, thank you very much. Field and 3D Committee. Kenneth, anything to add? No, thank you very much. Judges Committee. Martin Willman, anything to add to your report? Ah, he's in the back, okay. Change position, okay. So that's fine as well. Any comments on Judge Committee? Any questions? No? Okay. Medical and Sports Sciences Committee, the chair, Dr. Emin Ergen, was unable to come. Dr. Ergen is a very busy sports doctor, And also, you might have been surprised, as I was, that he was not running for staying on the committee. And we tried to motivate him. We tried to motivate him, but we were unfortunately not able to, because also our president, as chair of the IOC Medical Commission, gave him also lots of work. We will have to say goodbye to Emin, but President, I think we have a proposal to make him honorary.
Of course, he's a very close friend of mine for many years. We are from the same country. For ethical behavior, I don't want to say something. Maybe
okay.
you can translate
okay,
my feeling.
Yeah, so I think Emin has been very important for the Medical Commission for years, and so we would like, with your approval, make him honorary chair of the Medical Committee, Medical and Sports Science Committee. If you can acknowledge that by an applause. Thank you very much. Now, if you had the report as such, I can try, as non-doctor, answer any questions, but I might have to refer to other people that are much more competent than me. Any questions on medical? No. Then the next one, Para-Archery Committee. Carol Hicks, you want to add something? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been a privilege to serve as a member of the Para Committee. We have made amazing progress in the last couple of years, at least. We are specifically proud of the work done by the Classifiers Ad Hoc Committee. As Mr. Secretary General noted earlier on, the new handbook, which is now much more in line with the International Paralympic Code than it ever has been before, is now part of our bylaws, and that is a significant achievement. One of the things that we need to do as a para committee, including the classifiers group, is to set out a strategic plan, funnily enough. And so we have created a very brief survey, which we will be putting out to all people this afternoon in the workshops. The Para Committee would be very grateful for your cooperation to fill it in and then leave it on your desk, or I can collect it from you at some stage today or tomorrow. In closing, I would like to thank especially Tom Deelan, J.K. Lee, and the other staff of the World Archery Group, and also for the Executive Board for their support of para-archery. And to all of you who are doing such a good job with para-archery, thank you.
Thank you, Carol. One of the things Carol has asked to be done later on today is that when you go to your workshops, you will have a questionnaire per country to fill in. It's mainly to make sure that we understand the situation with para-archery in your country, especially who is in charge and so on. So if during the workshops today and tomorrow you can make sure you fill it in and then get it back to the staff or to Carol before we finish the Congress, that would be very helpful as such. Any other questions on para-archery? No, then I thank all the members of the Para-Archery Committee. And the next one is Target Archery Committee. Al, any additional comments? You're okay? Any questions? Doesn't seem to be the case. So also thanks to the members of the Target Archery Committee for their work. And then the Technical Committee, Mr. Rapska, any comments on your report? No? Been very busy, the Technical Committee, as always. many interpretations, and we will have some changes in the committee for sure, because some people are moving or trying to move to another committee. We'll see if they're successful, and you will have some new team to work with. Okay, any questions on committees? No? Then we can close this particular subject. And by the way, yes. Yes. By the way, okay. So we go for the motions and proposals. Now, even if we don't use the voting system as such, can we show the topic on the screen, because that would be helpful as such, or that's not possible? Okay, so the first motion is a motion, and that has been presented by.
Close this screen.
Okay, close the screen. You remove this from the. We will do it without the topic on the screen. Remove it. Yeah. Okay. So the first motion is in terms of the number of positions elected for the committees. It's part of, I would say, our governance changes we want to propose, is that one of the issues we've had with the committees is that basically under our current constitution, if you change the entire committee, there is no transfer of knowledge from one committee to the next one. Therefore, we feel it important that, like we have already since, as long as I know, a staggered election for the executive board, that we also go for a staggered election for the committees. So basically, this means that we will put all committees, and this one exception, which is the athletes committee, which we will need to do as well in the future, but since the election is done by the athletes at the World Championships, we will need to change the whole procedure. For all of the committees, the idea is that one Congress you elect 3 members, the next Congress you elect the 2 other members. And then the chair of the committee is up for change every 2 years. In this way, we guarantee a better continuity of the committee's knowledge, and we have a better knowledge base available to take the right decisions as committee. So this is something that came out of the joint committee meeting last year, and it's basically a proposal by all committees and the executive board. So is there any question on the motion as such, or the implementation of the motion? Now, this motion, contrary to all other motions, we would suggest that it comes into effect immediately in this Congress, so that when we do elections tomorrow, we already take this into consideration. Any questions or remarks on this matter? Doesn't seem to be the case. So we're going to do hands voting, so manual voting. So please keep your hands up long enough. The ones that have proxies, don't forget you have to vote with your 2 hands. And that are scrutineers, and I can ask the staff to help them count. I'm afraid your job is a little bit more complicated than anticipated. So we will need you to count the people in favor, then I will ask the ones against, and then I will ask the abstentions. For this motion, it's a constitutional motion. We need 2/3 majority of the votes cast. Abstentions do not count in the counting as such. Is that clear to everyone? Yes? So all those in favor of changing the number of people elected in committees and having a staggered election in committees? We take the time for our people to count. Keep your arms up. It's a physical exercise, I know. Scrutineers can give me an indication when they finished counting. It's very difficult to see from here. Okay, then you can lower your hands. Who is against? Well, that seems to be easy. Was one against, and abstentions? Two in the corner. So 2 abstentions, 1 against, and how many in favor? 64 in favor, so this motion passes. Okay, then the second motion is a motion from Archery Australia. So the proposer of the motion is given the floor. Can we have a microphone to Australia? Or to Susan Womersley?
Sorry, Suzanne Womersley, President Archery Oceania. The motion comes from the Continental Association of Oceania.
Sorry.
And the motion is to increase the number of other members on the executive board from 7 to 8. And the reason why World Archery Oceania has proposed this motion is because World Archery is growing in numbers. We have now got, 165 member associations all over the world, and an increase in the number on the executive committee, on the executive board, would provide a better opportunity to expand the expertise, the geographic representation, and the diversity on the executive board of World Archery.
Ms. President wants to say.
Yes. My dear friends, we discussed this motion in our executive board meeting yesterday, and we don't recommend this motion. First, this is related to our good governance project. It can be, if it is necessary, it can be discussed there first. Second, please, let's remember many organizations reduce members in their governing bodies for effectiveness. Effectiveness is one of the important principles related to good governance, as I very briefly mentioned during my speech in the morning. Because of it, at this moment, we don't recommend this motion. Thank you.
Are there any other remarks or interventions? Does World Archery Oceania wants to reply to it before we go to a vote? Doesn't seem to be the case. Okay, so can we have all those in favor of motion 2 in terms of increasing the number of members on the executive board? All those in favor? Okay, I think all those against? Okay, I think it's quite clear. Abstentions? I think it's, we don't need to count. I think it's quite clear. Okay, thank you. So the motion is rejected. Motion 3 from the Constitution and Rules Committee. This is about data protection and participation consent. As you might be aware, data protection is becoming more and more an issue, and especially in the EU, there are regulations that are being put in place that are becoming more and more strict, and we need to make sure that we are in line with those rules and that we don't end up being challenged in front of courts because we keep information on our athletes or our officials. So it is really a necessary thing to do. Now, in terms of the actual consent form and what we will put in the bylaw, what we put in the actual text was to give you an indication in which direction it will go. As soon as we have this approval, if you desire so, we will then work with our legal staff to make sure that it is the right format, and then it will be adopted by the executive board to come into effect next year. So, any questions on this? No? Okay, then can I ask all those in favor? Okay, I think we can lower the hands. Anyone against? Doesn't seem to be the case. Anyone abstaining? No. So, Thomas, how many? 67. The motion is carried. Then the next one, motion number 4. International license. So basically, I already mentioned it in my report. The reasons why we want to do this, mainly to ensure that everyone is covered in terms of insurance, and also that we have the right information on the number of athletes. As I mentioned clearly in my report, this is not a final decision on it. This is really to have the possibility to go and negotiate with the insurance companies and get the right approach. And then we will implement it by bylaws and, if necessary, other Congress motions in 2019. Are there any questions or remarks? Doesn't seem to be the case. Yes, a question? Well, the microphone is coming, sorry.
So you're only talking about archers registered with World Archery, not every club archer in every country.
Absolutely. We're talking here about people participating in world ranking tournaments. Yeah. We're talking about that level. And for instance, this is one of the things that will have to be clarified in the bylaws to which events it exactly applies, but we're talking about the ones competing internationally. This is not a way of taking over memberships of national federations at all.
So what about events like the Indoor World Cups?
That's one of the points we will have to clarify, and there is no decision on that at the moment, but most likely it would not apply for World Indoor Cups as such.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, can we then open the vote for who's in favor of adopting the international license? Okay, we can lower. Who is against? Okay, any abstentions? $69 in favor, the motion is carried. Okay, the next one is in relation to the World Indoor Championships. What we have seen is that over the years, the World Indoor Championship, this is a motion by target committee, and I'll give the word to Al afterwards if necessary, but fully supported by the executive board as well. World Archery has arranged World Indoor Championships, and when they were introduced in 1991, if I'm not mistaken, at that time there was no outdoor World Cup, and the Indoor World Championships were really the other championship where people could prepare for Olympic Games and other major events. At that time, most of the national federations were funding people to go to World Indoor Championships. However, with the introduction of the World Cup Outdoor, most of the member associations have reduced the funding or stopped the funding to the World Indoor Championship. So we've seen a quite big reduction in people going to the World Indoor Championships, even if we see that there was interest in the junior event as such. On the other hand, we've started the Indoor World Cup, which is an open event. And open events means that the people going are paying themselves. And there is no discussion that the Indoor World Cup, the numbers are rising dramatically. And we see that, and okay, the organizer of the Vegas World Cup is here, and tell me if I'm wrong, but there is a possibility that they could be breaking 3,500 people this year. Nîmes is at full capacity. Bangkok will also break new records this year, I'm sure. So the Indoor World Cup is growing. So there is interest in indoor archery. However, the Indoor World Championships are not growing. So the proposal is that rather than continue to invest in an event that is not growing, we continue to invest more in the future in the Indoor World Cup Series, and we call it the World Series. And we focus for indoor attention from a closed national team event to an open participation event as such. I don't know if you want to add anything. No? Okay. Are there any questions or remarks on this topic? Yes, there is a question over there.
My name is Steinar Isingård. I'm president in the Norwegian Archery Federation. For this input, we need a translation. Mr. Morten Wilman will do this.
Is the World Archery in Norway translation. World Archery in Norway would like to speak against deleting the World Indoor Championships based on the motion 5, as several aspects is not considered. I mentioned some of them. We believe the value of a championship medal is far better than an Indoor World Cup victory, especially vis-à-vis media. We know that some member associations will get funding for World Championships from the National Olympic Committee, but nothing for World Cups. We understand that the idea of Indoor World Cup is that the participants should pay themselves. Are we sure that the best archers will then participate? In a system of qualification based on 3 or 4 cups. In our country, we will have to pay for the participation, now 4 times instead of once for our World Championships. If we want to have the best archers participating, much more expensive for us. In our World Championships, one event, there is a possibility of surprises. Surprises are good for archery. In a system of 3 or 4 qualification events, a surprise in the same way is hardly obtainable. So, not to be too negative as such, we have a proposition, or maybe you call it a motion. We ask Congress to put this motion on the table for next Congress. Our reason is, in the meanwhile, World Archery goes thoroughly through all aspects, pro and contras, to the motion in order to deliver clear options for voting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other intervention? Yes. Ukraine.
Thank you. In my opinion, it's impossible to do. It's a way to destroy the archery finally. Because I think, yes, World Archery looking for the way to find the new sources for collect the money. No, to find the money. But not in this way. And asking the archery friends and all federation don't support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other remarks? Yes, Iceland.
Yes, I've actually gone over the statistics for the Indoor World Championships as well, and they are actually getting smaller every year. So if we don't discontinue it, something needs to be done to try to increase the participation. For example, having an open World Championship, as strange as that may sound, or doing the World Series as you're saying, and having this top 16 athletes from the World Series competing at the World Championships. It would be a smaller event, it would be cheaper, and I think most of the other countries wouldn't have an objection against that, because then you're not discontinuing it completely.
Okay, one of the aspects that we haven't addressed as such, which was brought to my attention, is also the fact that because of the numbers are going down, we have a hard time finding organizers. If we do not make this change, there is a real risk that, yes, we still have it in our rules, but there is no one organizing it. So that is the reason why Target Committee has proposed this. And also, one of the things, cost was mentioned as a factor, but the idea is that there could be other events closer by and more spread around the world to solve the issue of costs. The other point that we see is that there are actually countries that are participating in the Indoor World Cup that have never or rarely participated in the Indoor World Championships. So the question is, the word world really applicable to the World Indoor Championships at the moment? Al, do you want to add something? Yes, the microphone.
Microphone.
The Target Committee discussed this at length, and we also discussed it with all the other committees at our meeting in Lausanne in December. It wasn't a decision we all came to lightly, and we all like the camaraderie and the fact to get together with a large group at an Indoor World Championships. But I think the other factor that we haven't talked about is the size. The size of the hall and the infrastructure you need to put on a World Championships, really quite expensive and requires a lot of resources. Anything else? Anyone else wants to know?
So, yes, there is another comment from the Netherlands.
Thank you. I only have one question. How are the athletes in the athletes committee thinking about this proposal?
Yeah.
From Athletes Commission, it's different propose. From elite athletes, yes, they don't need championships because they participate every time at World Cups and they're in top. But from not top athletes, they want to save championships because many countries don't participate at World Cups. And if you want to make a title of world champion, you must participate minimum in 2 World Cup stages and then go to this top 16 for the title, for the possibility. So for elite athletes, it don't matter. But for not elite, no. Another case, we miss title in the team, and for junior and for senior. So it's miss once more. So from Athletes Committee, we don't have one conception. We have and yes, we have and no answer.
Okay, are there any other interventions or questions? Now, we discussed with CNR Committee Chair, doing a motion during Congress is not a possibility. The only option would be that it would be tabled for the next Congress. So if we could have a vote to table it for next Congress, that could be an option, but we cannot accept this as a new motion because that would be contrary to the Constitution. However, if you want to propose a motion to table this one till next Congress, that is an option. Is that what Norway wants to do?
Yes, that is the idea from Norway, to table it for next Congress when we have more time to investigate all aspects. And then we can come back with an even better motion, sorry to say. Thank you.
Okay, so, yes, Ukraine?
Thank you. I'm interested in what the Committee of Constitutional Rules can say about such situation.
This is fully in coordination with the CNR Committee Chair, who just gave me his answer on the matter. So if Congress approves to table the motion, then it will be discussed with possible amendments, because that's the possibility to include amendments at the next Congress.
Okay, but in Constitution we compete for the world title, and we have the limit.
What the motion from Norway is to table the proposed motion by Target Archery Committee till the next Congress. We will vote on that now. That has been put on the floor of Congress. If that passes, then there will be no further discussion on this matter. If it fails, we will go for a vote on the motion as presented.
Yes.
Is that clear? Okay. So, we will vote now, and this is a 50% plus one vote, if we will table this motion till the 2019 Congress. That's what we are voting on now. So all those in favor to table this motion till the next Congress. Okay, I think we have a clear 50% majority. Just for formality, against? Okay. And abstention? Okay, so what will happen is basically this motion is tabled, meaning at the 2019 Congress, this motion will be rediscussed. You have time, and the time is a time for amendments for motions for 2019. Mark, do you know the number of days before? We'll check, but okay, we'll let you know. So, it will be discussed on the 29th Congress. That also means that we will open candidatures for a 2020 World Indoor Championship, which we hadn't done. There is, however, a risk that there won't be an organizer. Okay? So the ones that want to keep it should seriously think about coming with a proposal for an organizer. Because if we don't find an organizer, I think it will be very hard to keep it in the rules next time. Okay. We go to the next motion. That motion is also from Target Committee. And this is very much an editorial matter. This is not, we're not destroying or removing any round from our rule book, okay? It is just that we want to make our rule book more adapted to what is happening. So we want to put in the rule book, in the chapter on target archery, what we are doing at World Championships, World Cups, and Olympic Games. What is still being done and very well done at other events will be moved to Book 5. So it's not really a change of any rules, it is just a question of reorganization of the rule book. So we're not removing any rounds. I've seen some comments on Facebook that we were destroying the 1440 round and so on. It's nothing to do with it, it is just a reorganization of the rule book. Any questions on this? No? Okay. Can we have a vote in favor of this motion? And we need 50% on this because it's not a change of rule, it's just a reorganization. Okay. Anyone against? One. Anyone abstaining? Okay. Thomas? (69) Motion carried. Motion number 8 is exactly the same thing. It's about 25 meters, and I think Okay, it's motion 8, or remember 7, sorry. 7, and it's yeah. I think we can't skip this one. Okay. So, it's a proposal from Target Committee, but it's the follow-up of what we discussed already earlier today, of already an idea that was presented just too late for the last Congress. It's in relation to the number of teams in outdoor, and I stress, outdoor competition, outdoor target competition. So the number of teams that would qualify for the elimination rounds would go from 16 to 24 for team and mixed team. Now, just one clarification to make it crystal clear. This does not concern the Olympic Games in Tokyo. In Tokyo, there will be 16 teams, not 24. Any questions on this? One remark I would like to make as well is that it will have a consequence on the number of days an event might be, because we will need more time to do it. Yes? Microphone? Austria.
One question from Austria. You said the 16 teams are only at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. What about the Olympic Games in Paris? Also 16 teams, or?
For the moment, we don't have an event program for Paris, so I cannot give you any statement on Paris, except that archery is on the program in Paris. So it's impossible to say how many teams, there's no qualification. At the moment, only thing we know is archery is on the program. We don't know with how many athletes. So it's impossible to answer that question as of today.
That's what I thought you would say. But is it the intention of the World Archery? Of course, I think so. Or?
We will try to get as much teams as possible, but we have to also learn from the experience from Tokyo before we can take that decision. If we would go to 24 mixed teams, that also means we can't do it on one day. That will depend on the venue. Can we shoot at night? Can we shoot? So it's all, I would say, thinking which cannot be expressed in a concrete proposal today.
Thank you.
Okay, any further questions on this matter? Don't see any hands. Okay, can we then have a vote in favor of increasing the number of teams at our events outdoor? Yes, all those in favor? Okay, I think we were able to count. Anyone against? Any abstentions? Unanimous. Congratulations. So the motion is carried. This will come into effect 1st of April next year, so don't ask 24 teams next week here in Mexico, just to make it clear. Okay. The next point is again the editorial move of distances from book 2 to book 5. When we drafted the motion, we overlooked the fact that 60 meter is the round shot at World Championships for cadets. So there is an amendment that was made after the motion was sent out. So we first have to, I'm afraid for Congress procedures, vote on the amendment, and then we will have to vote on the amended or non-amended motion. So are there any questions on this particular matter? No? So we first vote on the amendment on motion 8, which means that the text will be amended that the 60 meters stays in book 2. All those in favor? Okay, counting. Okay, anyone against? No. Anyone abstaining? No. Okay, so the amendment has passed. Now we will vote on the amended motion, meaning all those rounds will be moved to Book 5, except for the 60-meter round. All those in favor? Okay, anyone against? Any abstentions? Okay. Motion is carried. Then we go to motion number 9. Again, from Target Committee. It is basically to resolve an issue that has occurred because of a lot of countries are organizing what we would call, under the rules, a double 70-meter round or a double 50-meter round, but that sometimes is called a 4 times 70-meter or a 4 times 50. We're talking about shooting 144 arrows as such. And the reason why it has caused issues is that sometimes people have shot world records on the 3rd and the 4th part of that tournament. And under our rules, we could not accept those world records because the 2 times 70-meter or 2 times 50-meter, and by analogy also the 2 times 60-meter, does not exist in our rule book. So you could not register for those tournaments, and we had to refuse those records unless they were registered as 2 separate entities as such. So it is to resolve this matter for people to allow organizations to shoot 2 times 70-meter rounds, so 144 arrows. We do not plan to introduce this at World Championships or any other major international events. This is really for national tournaments. Any questions on this? Yes, Great Britain.
Tom, can you just clarify if this is double 70-meter and double 50-meter, or does it also include double 60-meter for cadets?
It also includes double 60 as analogy. This was, I would say, it's an editorial, Mark, you correct me if I'm wrong, but this is an editorial matter that will be put in place because the 70 and 60 meters are normally shot at the same tournaments. So this is a pure editorial matter. Normally also when you register a tournament, you register it as a 70-meter and a 50-meter tournament. The 60-meter is by the fact that it's the analogous round shot for that age group. So it does include, and Mark confirmed it to me. Okay, any further remarks or questions? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, seems to be able to be counted. All those against? No one. Anyone abstaining? No one, so unanimous, motion carried. Motion 10. Again, an editorial move from Book 2 to Book 5 for the 25-meter indoor round. Belgian, I have some memories of that. And also the combined round. So again, it's a move from Book 2 to Book 5. Any comments? Yes, Australia. No, actually Oceania. We need another microphone. The microphone doesn't seem to be working.
Oceania, allowing for the fact that the motion to remove the indoor World Championships has been tabled until Congress 2019, would it be appropriate to table this motion in accordance with that? Because otherwise you're moving one bit and not the other.
Well, sorry, Suzanne, but the 25-meter has not been shot in the World Indoor Championships since, as far as I know, 8 or 9 editions. This is only 25 meters we're talking about, not 18 meters. So it has absolutely no relevance at this stage. Should at a certain moment 25-meter be reintroduced for indoor World Championships, if they still then exist, then at that time we could move it back from Book 5 to Book 2.
No, sorry, that was a mistake on my part. I didn't realize that.
Thank you. So any other remarks on that? Okay, can we have all those in favor? Okay, anyone against? Any abstention? No? Okay, motion carried unanimously. Motion 11. Again, the same thing. Editorial move, but this time from, still from Book 2 to Book 5. Talking about cloud, run archery. Any questions on that? No? All those in favor? Okay, anyone against? Any abstention? Okay, motion is carried unanimously. Just one remark in terms of run archery. In our rule book, the articles of run archery are very, very limited. It's basically the rules will be developed. Now, I know that in Europe, there is a lot of run archery competitions being done, but we still haven't received any proposal for rules. So this is a request to the countries that are actually doing competitions of run archery. I think it would make sense that we get proposals from them so we can have actually more than just the title of run archery in our rule book. Thank you, and I see Netherlands nodding and saying that they will come with a proposal. Thank you very much. Then we go to motion 12, presented by the Target Archery Committee on the indoor compound round. Chairman of the Target Committee, microphone to Canada, please. Microphone.
Thank you. When the compound bow was introduced, and there were some of us in the room when that happened, and those of us remember the inner 10 ring drawn into a conventional world archery target face. And we didn't like it then, and we still don't like it, but it got even worse when we went to television, and television started televising the finals and match play, I guess you call it. And there was a target face with a great big 9 ring, almost twice the size of the regular 9 ring. So it didn't look good then, and it looks worse now, because more and more we're getting questioned about it. Why is that 9 ring so big? So the Target Archery Committee devised 2 different versions of a properly, what's the word I'm looking for? Proportional target face, there it is, came to me. And it's been published on the World Archery website, and it's, I guess we should have thought to bring some targets, we didn't. but it allows the compound only to shoot at a proportional target with the 10 ring the same size as it is now, and all the other rings are proportional to that. So world records stay the same, and it just makes the competition more fair, but especially makes it more conscientious to television, so that you don't get the questions of the large 9 ring.
Okay, any particulars? Yes, there is a question from, I can't see, Netherlands, yes.
In the Netherlands, we have a lot of indoor competitions where recurve archers shoot at the same lanes as compound, and we use the old-fashioned recurve target faces with the inner 10, and the compound count the inner 10 and the recurve count the big 10. With a change of target faces, it will be a lot more, more difficult for organizers to use the good targets, and I don't advise this motion.
Okay, any other intervention as such? Yes.
From Athletes Committee, during last indoor season, these target faces were tried, were tested, and in major opinion of athletes, it's a good idea to change a little bit these target faces, especially for understanding it's 10, it's 9, it's for compound, not additional 10x10 or the same target faces from another side. Of course, it's more hard for organized committee because bring this target and then distribute, use these target faces. But from athletes, they like this and they want to try.
Okay, any other remarks? I have some remarks on it as well, but I want to make sure that everyone else has a chance. Any other remarks? No? Since we have had the discussion with the target committee on this, and we also had some tests and some changes that were done on the regional time and so on, one issue has come to us as a major issue if we adopt this, that we should be all aware of if we adopt it. And that is, we would have a major issue of having the World Cup final indoor in Vegas, because we would have people shooting on one phase, the qualification there, and then another phase in the finals, which would make it a very strange format of competition. And I think it's a complete illusion to even think that the Vegas shoot would change to this new target phase. So this is a matter that would complicate, like it also is complicating for national tournaments having both recurve and compound shooting on the same targets. It would also cause a major challenge for us for the World Cup indoor final. Any other remarks on this before we take it to a vote? Okay. Yes, there is Netherlands again.
Thank you. Because of what you said about this kind of issues, and also the very interesting discussion that was on Facebook today and yesterday, also about this issue, and a lot of statistics that can be used, and also the question that was raised in whose advantage is the change of this issue. I would like to suggest to discuss this issue in 2 years at the next World Archery Congress, and not to discuss it now, because there are a lot of elements you can discuss, and to push it now forward directly, I think that's not a good idea. So take a bit more time and discuss it very good also with statistics.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to table this to the 2019 Congress. Any comments on that? No? Okay, so do we table, as we did with the previous motion as well, the compound indoor phase till the 2019 Congress. All those in favor of tabling till the next Congress. For that we need 50% of votes. Okay, anyone against tabling the motion? And abstentions? Against? So 37 in favor of tabling the motion and 27 against. So it will be tabled till the next Congress, and I think the new elected target committee will have to look at it carefully for the next Congress. Thank you. Field and 3D Committee, motion 13. Now, this is probably one of the longest motions ever presented, but actually what we have to be clear about is we're only, in a certain sense, discussing the law part of it and not the bylaw part. Our rules are in laws and bylaws. Now, we could have presented only to you the laws and then had the bylaws go to our executive board as such. However, what this motion is trying to do is not changing anything basically. It is about rewriting in a better understandable way the rules. So there is no essential changes that, as far as I could see, are there. Kenneth, do you want to comment on that? Microphone there, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Kenneth Olin, Field and 3D Committee. We had worked around it a lot, experience from World Championships and European Championships and other championships in the last years. And we have three main things in this motion, except for the more editing stuff in it. It's that we bring out the word animal in 3D targets. That's one important thing. In the future, we hope it will be named 3D targets only. Another thing is that we skip the rules about how many targets of each sizes it should be in a 3D competition. Because when you end up as a technical delegate or a judge on site on a competition, it's too late to make the organizers fix new animals if they're missing one or two of the big ones. You can't get them in time, and it's a lot of money. And the third thing is that we go up on the 2-arrow rules, which is done in the qualification, go up to 2 minutes shooting time. Because almost all archers, we have a sight on a bow, are not managed to handle the 1.5 minutes rules if they don't have help by the judge. So we are doing a football game if we don't change that one to 2 minutes. Because it's not possible for a compound archer to deliver 2 arrows in 1.5 minutes as an AB archer shooting at the first shooter at the peg. That's the main issues in the motion. Thank you. I hope you go for it.
Okay. So any other questions or remarks? Okay. Can we then have the people voting in favor for motion? Thank you. Okay, anyone against? No. Anyone abstaining? One. One abstention, so the motion is carried. Then the last one is motion 14, Technical Committee. Rapska, you want to talk to it?
Yes, basically the same thing as what we tried to accomplish was to make the rules more generic in some terms. Some terms in the rule book had specific archery equipment from specific manufacturers, and we just changed those terms to generic and just try to clean the rules up to be more contemporary with today's rules and today's terminology. That's about it. Thanks.
Okay, any comments? Doesn't seem to be the case. All those in favor? Okay, anyone against? No, anyone abstaining? Okay, unanimous. And then motion 15, Field and 3D Committee. Kenneth? You want to talk to it? Or it's basically the same as the one before, huh? It's editorial motion 15. I think you talked already about it in the previous one because this is the one about 3D mainly, no? Okay, so we actually already mentioned it before, the changes as such. So any questions or comments on 15? No? Okay, all those in favor? Okay. Anyone against? No. Any abstentions? No. Okay, motion is carried. Good, so this ends the motions. We have two proposals. The first proposal is from World Archery Oceania. Oh, okay, you... Oh, sorry, I have received information. World Archery Oceania wishes to withdraw the proposal regarding the geographic representation. So anyone opposed to the withdrawal? No? Okay, so the proposal number 1 is withdrawn. And then proposal number 2 is from the Target Archery Committee. Al, any comments on your proposal? Okay, the proposal is basically to see if we can split the two championship compound and recurve. Now, we've had discussions on this before. What I suggest, you can decide on it as such, but I think there needs more study than just splitting or not. There is many challenges facing us in terms of practice, in terms of size of field, in terms of costs. We talked about earlier in my report as well about how to make the championships more sustainable and so on. So this is an option, but it's not the only option, and there might be other things to be discussed. So if Al, if you agree, I think again we will have Target Committee together with the event staff look into this and come with a clear guidance to the next Congress in 2019. Is that okay for you? Okay, good. Okay, so this finishes the motions and proposal part of the meeting, and it took a little bit longer as expected, but I think it was necessary. Mr. President?
Thank you very much, Tom, for your great effort related to really difficult part of the Congress. And thank you all for your contribution to this discussion. Now again, take the floor for group discussion matters.
Okay, so I don't have to introduce the 4 groups as such. You know, we will talk about communication, strategy, governance, and data. So what we will do is we will put on the screen the groups as such for the workshop. And so we have here the green group. So Bhutan, Fédération Nationale Congolaise de Tir à l'Arc, Cuba, Djibouti, Egypt, El Salvador, Faroe, Georgia, Guatemala, Iraq, Virgin Islands, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Saudi Arabia, Poland, Mauritius, Puerto Rico, United Arab Emirates, Uganda, and World Archery Asia. That's the green group. And you will go to room Monterey C. So if the green group can start making its way out of the room to room Monterey C, and afterwards, when they are finished with that, they will go to Monterey. Can you go back one, please? To Monterey B. When you finish the two group discussions, you will come back for the final presentation of Tokyo. So everyone will come back at the end. Our staff will guide you how to get there and also on when to change from one group to the other. We're running a little bit late, but we will try to give enough time to discuss the topics. Then the second group, which is the blue group, so Bahamas, Barbados, Belgium, Chile, Czech Republic, Cyprus, Hungary, Iceland, Latvia, Luxembourg, Mexico, Moldova, Namibia, Nigeria, Portugal, Romania, Slovenia, Philippines, Trinidad and Tobago, Ukraine, World Archery Africa, World Archery Oceania. So you go to Oaxaca A and afterwards to Monterey A. So if group blue can leave as well and go to Oaxaca A. Thank you. Yes, if anybody has a doubt which group he is, on your accreditation there is a color sticker showing which group you are in. So if you weren't listening to when I was naming the countries, you can find it on your green is Caroline Murat, who will take you there. Blue is Séverine Deria. Pink, and I will announce the pink group now, is with Jenny. Can you show the pink group, please? Oh, that's orange. Pink? Okay. So pink group, and this has nothing to do with any color choices. It's the colors we found for the stickers. Australia, Austria, Canada, France, Great Britain, Germany, Iran, Italy, Japan, Korea, Netherlands, Russia, Turkey, and United States. And you go to Monterey A and then to Oaxaca A. And you go with Jenny. And you leave the tablets on the table, please. And then the last group, the orange group. Orange, and they're going with JK. Argentina, Brazil, China, Colombia, Croatia, Denmark, Republic, Spain, Estonia, Greece, Malaysia, Norway, South Africa, Sweden, Chinese Taipei, and World Archery Americas. You go to Monterey B, and afterwards you will go to Monterey C. So, please leave your tablets on the table. And if you're sitting here and you're delegate of your country, you didn't listen to what I was saying. So green follow Caroline Murat, blue Séverine Deria, orange J.K. Lee, and pink Jenny Brugger. For what concerns the committee chairs and our board, you can decide which group you want to go to.